This is the MOCOFB.com.
MOCOFB.com.
This is the MOCOFB.com weekly.
All right, everybody, we're back with a little absence last week. Playoff football is now in full swing. We had some interesting results, and we're gonna get into all that. We have Damon back with us, and Damon, first and foremost, how do you feel about having playoff football back into full swing for Montgomery County and just for the whole state in general, man?
Yeah, you said it. I don't know if interesting is the word for what went down this past weekend, but I mean, it's a cliche statement. This is why we play the game.
Yeah.
And playoff football, it happens every year. Like, it's a whole different animal.
Absolutely.
Different animal.
Absolutely.
I was happy with some of the results. I was disappointed with some of the results.
Yeah.
I was shocked by some of the results. And this actually extends beyond Montgomery County. Like, this is not something unique to our little area here. Like, This is happening everywhere. But, I mean, I wouldn't trade it for anything. This is why I love playoff football.
Yeah, absolutely. I playoff football brings out the best in some teams, sometimes the worst in some teams, exposes some teams. It sometimes brings the spotlight on certain teams and players that we might have been, I don't want to say ignoring, but not have paid as much attention to one of the games. And this, Damon, I'm a full-blown Sherwood supporter, full-blown Sherwood guy, and last week was tough. I'm not gonna lie to you, on many levels, and I'm talking about Sherwood losing 30-20 to Mervo, Baltimore City School. Mervo played. Hats off to them. Played a great game. Sherwood came out, scored on the first possession. A lot of people thought that at that point that Sherwood was going to roll, but Mervo, coming down from Baltimore, kept their resolve. Had some special team scores. Put together good game plan. Put together a good game plan that stopped up to that point a high-powered Sherwood offense. And looking at Sherwood, looking at this game. This is an undefeated Sherwood team. All credit to Coach Greer and what they accomplished this season. But, obviously this is a very disappointing result. You expected a little bit more from everybody involved when it comes on the Sherwood side. This is going to be a tough one for Sherwood supporters and Sherwood fans and the Sherwood team especially to get over. Because when you have a situation where you're gonna have two home games in your regional finals, and you have a Division I running back in Travis Levy, one of the best running backs in the area, and you're not able to get past the first round, it's tough. Like I said again, it doesn't discredit the undefeated season. It doesn't discredit what those boys accomplished, but at the same time, it definitely puts it in a different light. And another thing I want to mention is, I don't know what in the community is going on in Sherwood, but when I played at Sherwood, playing in that stadium was an event. It was something that not only people within our community, but people outside of it admired and respected the way that our fans came out and the way that our teams would perform, for our fans, and the energy that will come from the stands, and just you look up there and there will be just so much energy and excitement, and to see kind of how I don't want to say down, but to see the way that the stadium looked, when it comes on to the amount of people that were there or lack thereof, I honestly believe that was a very disappointing thing as well. So it was disappointing on many levels, but again, hats off to Mervo. They played one heck of a game. They were really tough with Sherwood, brought a physical presence to the game, and I felt like Sherwood, I don't even want to say that Sherwood overlooked them, because I think it's disrespectful to the Mervo team that played a great game. I just think that Mervo just played a better game. And, hats off to them. And I think that they're going to move on now. And I think they have a good shot versus Howard. I know it took a long time, Damon, but, there was a couple things I want to get off my chest a little bit. But what do you think about this game, Damon? Obviously, it's for not just me as a Sherwood guy, but as a MoCo guy, I'm pretty sure you were disappointed in the result.
Yeah, this was definitely one of the games. When I saw the results, I was definitely shocked. I had to double and triple check it to make sure it was correct. Mervo, like you said, came on the road into Montgomery County to Sherwood and probably pulled off one of the biggest wins in their program's history. So again, hats off to them. They enforced their will up on Sherwood. They played the game that they wanted to play and the type of game that they wanted to play, which, as you mentioned, was very physical. And for whatever reason, well, not for whatever reason, I think we know what went wrong in this game, and it's the same stuff that goes wrong in most games that you lose. Turnovers and penalties. They'll kill you every time, and it's just amplified in the playoffs. For Mervo to hold the top scoring offense in Montgomery County in terms of points per game.
Yeah.
And to hold them to 20 points.
Yeah.
That's an amazing job. That is amazing.
Yeah.
So, with all that being said, the game was definitely a winnable game for Sherwood. But, like I said, the turnovers and penalties just got to them and got themselves into a hole that they were unable to get out of. Just time ran out.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, hats off to the Sherwood Warriors. You guys had an awesome season. You definitely held your head high, even in the loss. So, seniors, you're gonna, like I said, last week or 2 weeks ago, you're gonna remember these times for the rest of your lives. And as time goes on, the sting will subside a little bit, and you'll remember the good times more. And for the underclassmen, just remember this, and use that as fuel for 2017.
Absolutely. It's just one of those things where, as a program, we're gonna have to dust ourselves off, get up off the mat, because it's just one of those things where you get hit with the haymaker, and sometimes that happens to you. You're gonna have to find a way to bounce back from it. So I'm sure Coach Greer and those boys, they're gonna find a way to come back even stronger. The schedule changes next year, so that's always going to add a different kind of excitement and intrigue to everything. And I hope those kids are going to get into the room as soon as they can and get everything right. And I'm pretty sure they will. I'm pretty sure that the character of that team would show throughout the offseason, and they're not going to let this damper what the progress they made the last 2 seasons, having 2 undefeated seasons on the field and everything like that. Now we're gonna go over to another game that was a little bit of a shocker. Now looking back at it, we probably shouldn't have been that shocked. And it's Richard Montgomery holding forward at home, beating Northwest. And this kid Ty Hebron, he continues to impress, Damon. I mean, he's a kid that obviously he's rushed for over 2,000 yards. This is the first time we've seen him on a big stage and facing a team like Northwest. And, this kid put on a show. I mean, 289 yards, I believe, and 3 touchdowns. I mean, and also big runs at the end of the game to close the game out. I mean, he really took the team on his back like he's been doing all year. Really inspired him. And not only that, he is a really good linebacker as well. playing tough defense and things like that. So when you look at this game, Damon, and obviously a lot of people pick Northwest to win not only this game but possibly the region. How surprised were you with this result? Do you think that RM now proves that they may be a threat to possibly move on past even this week and maybe even be a state championship contender with the win?
They definitely, at the very least, prove that they should be mentioned among the elite teams in the county. In terms of our own ranking, they made a couple of appearances throughout the season, but they were always on the cusp.
Right.
More often than not, on the outside looking in.
Right.
And I think this game cemented them in the top six, no question. Yes, I was definitely surprised by the outcome of this game, given their regular season matchup. For Northwest walked away with a 46-13 win. But if you really drill down on that game, you'll notice that, it was close until the fourth quarter. And for a variety of reasons, Northwest was able to pull away. So it wasn't like RM was not on Northwest's level, so to speak. They just let it get away from them toward the end. But with all that said, hats off to the Jaguars in what most people thought was going to be a rebuilding year, to come away with a 7-4 record, including a playoff berth. I mean, for a rebuilding year, that is outstanding.
Yeah.
That's overachieving.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hats off to them for what I think most people would agree was a pretty successful season, given the transitions that they were going through.
Absolutely.
But for RM, once again, it's another step forward, similar to what Blair has been doing. RM has been quietly been doing the same thing, just each year getting successively better, taking an extra step further.
Absolutely.
I know a lot of people say that Coach Fields at Blair, Coach Bonavia at Einstein should be Coach of the Year, but I'm telling you, Coach Klotz at Richard Montgomery is making a strong case.
Absolutely.
I mean, he's literally turned the program around. First 2 years, kind of shaky.
Yeah.
2-8. Turned it on last year, going 9-2. Now they're currently 10-1.
Yeah.
And playing in the regional finals.
Yeah.
So no matter what happens this Friday, Richard Montgomery has exceeded expectations once again.
Yeah.
And special shout out to Ty Hapron. I mean, that was a career performance for that young man.
Absolutely.
He literally put them on his shoulders and, took over the game.
Absolutely.
289 yards against a good defense that Northwest has, 3 touchdowns. That is outstanding.
Yep.
Obviously, shout out to the offensive line. Can't do it without them.
Right. No, absolutely. And that's going to lead us into, we're gonna start talking about this week's games. We got 3 MOCO teams left. We have QO, who came off of a very dominant performance versus Blair. A lot of people question QO's ability to defend the pass. I think that after last week, I think that those questions should be answered now. I don't think that anybody should be really questioning, QO's ability in the secondary anymore with their very dominant performance versus a Blair team that I believe is one of the best passing teams in the state of Maryland. We just touched on RM and what they were able to do. A lot of people were anticipating a QO Northwest rematch for, I believe it will be the 4th time but RM kind of threw a monkey wrench in that whole plan, and now the QO Cougars are going to have to be hosting Ty Hebron and the boys coming into the Cougar Dome. I believe that this game is going to be a game where you're going to have a test of wills. The game's going to be won in the trenches. When you look at what RM likes to do to the core of it, sometimes they like to do some different things and mix it up a little bit, but to the core, Coach Klotz and those boys, they love to run the ball, obviously, and they're going to come straight at you. And that's what QO has built their whole program around. And it's not really too hard to see where Coach Klotz has gotten that from, given the fact that he the last place he was being the Quince Orchard offense coordinator, where he was he coached guys like Mark Green and guys like that rushed for over 2,000 yards. So it's not a foreign thing for him to have a running back rushing for over 2,000 yards in his offense. So when you look at what RM can bring to the table, I just think that right now they have to find a way to kind of ease up the load on Ty Hebron. Find a way to get other people involved. You know, they have a lot of good. They have some good wide receivers. They have other good guys that can make plays with the ball in their hands. They have to find a way to get those kids the ball, because QO, if you give QO one guy to stop, and you know this, Damon, it's gonna be. I mean, Noah Pegley and those boys who had a terrific game last game, they're gonna eat. They're definitely gonna eat. So I think that's gonna be QO's main focus. What do you think about this game, Damon? And what are the things that you think RM has to do to make this game into one that they may be in fourth quarter with a chance to win?
Yeah, as you mentioned, for the first time in 30 years. It's not Quince Orchard Northwest in the regional final, so it feels a little bit strange, especially for me, but I'll take it. I'm just happy my Cougars made it back to the regional final for the 12th year in a row, I might throw in. But with that, yeah, and just to go back a little bit, as you mentioned, they took down a very, very good Blair team, one of the hottest teams in Montgomery County this year, even given their loss to Damascus in Week 10, which was definitely a winnable game. They played Damascus extremely well. Matter of fact, they put up the most points for opponent for Damascus all year. That's including Quince Orchard. So Blair, it was definitely no walkover. But Quince Orchard did their homework. They were able to hold a team that was averaging 40 points a game to 7. So the defense was lights out.
Right.
And on offense, QO does what they typically do. They ran the ball extremely well to the tune of 240 total yards and 3 touchdowns spread out between four players. So,
right.
And once again, Don Bonner had a extremely efficient passing game. So yeah, getting to the regional finals this weekend for Richmond Montgomery. Yeah, like you said, it's going to start in the trenches. They are going to have to limit the production of Marvin Binder and Doc Bonner. And then if they're able to contain that, they can't forget about the weapons that they have at wide receiver with Flippy Daisy, Elijah Payne, McGonigal. There's several options for Doc to get the ball to. On the flip side, yeah, Rich Montgomery or Quince Orchard, 100%. There's no question about it. They are going to have to make the Rich Montgomery quarterback, Spencer Silverstein, win the game for him, which basically means stop Ty Hebron, which is a tall order. But at some point, if the Rich Montgomery rushing attack is not getting the production that they're used to and that they're definitely going to need in this game, then it's going to shift to Silverstein.
Right.
They're going to have to make him throw the ball. And that's something he's very capable of doing. We've seen him do it through the season. But if you want to pick your poison, I would like to think most people would take their chances with Silverstein than having Ty run all over the field.
Right.
Which is what he did this past Friday.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, that's what it's going to come down to. Richard Montgomery's coming on the road. They're coming to the Cougar Dome. I do believe this will be Coach Klotz. This will be his first visit in 2 years. He played Quince Orchard 2 times in his first 2 years at Richard Montgomery. Obviously, he was just taking over the program. So this is his first time back with an equal-sized baseball bat. There are equal terms now in terms of talent.
Right.
So it's not going to be an easy game for either team, but I think Quince Orchard pulls it out the end. They are going to pound the ball, and it's going to be up to Rich Montgomery to stop them. I think it's going to be a little bit too much, and it's going to get away from them at the end. I have Quince Orchard coming out on top, 35-17.
Yeah, I have a very similar score. I got Quince Orchard 38-14, very similar to what they did to Blair. I think that they're going to control the game. I think that the whole game, I think that people are going to say, hey, QO is in control. I don't think that at any point people are going to be, panicking over on the QO sideline. Now, I think that Ty Hebron is definitely going to be able to maybe pop off a few runs, make the game interesting maybe for a little bit, but I think that QO just as a total team might be a little bit too much for RM. Now, let's look at this Damascus Oakdale game. Obviously, Oakdale is one of the better teams in the 3A. Oakdale has been steadily rising over the last few years. They're a newer school. Damascus is, and sometimes you see this a lot of times. Like, I don't think that they could have played a better game than what they played versus Seneca Valley. Offense, defense, special teams, everything. But the 2 weeks afterwards, it hasn't been the usual Damascus that we know to love over the past 2 seasons, or even 3. And I think that right now Damascus' biggest enemies themselves. And I think that if they can get out their own way, then I think that they'll be fine in this game. Damon, what do you think about this game? Obviously, Oakdale is a very good team. They have a lot of good weapons, a lot of big-time players. So what do you think about this game, Damon? And do you think that that Damascus is going to get back on track and be able to be the Damascus that we know and love?
So, yeah, I'm just going to come out and say it. Damascus is favored heavily in this game, despite their recent struggles, and I say those with very emphatic hand quotes.
Right.
Troubles. I still have Oakdale as a 2-score underdog minimum. Looking at the game in the region semifinals, Oakdale got off to a very slow start. But they were able to put things together in the second half, or winning 40-28. But they were down 21-0 at one point.
Right.
And if you get off to a slow start like that versus the Swarming Hornets,
oh, that's a death sentence.
Yeah, you might as well pack it in.
Yeah.
The type of offense that they run, it is extremely hard to come back on a Damascus team. Trust me, I've been there.
Right.
You can't get in the hole versus them. So you have to get off to a quick start, and you have to sustain that through the entire game, because right up there with Northwest, the Damascus coaching staff is one of the best at making adjustments at halftime.
Right.
Look no further than week 1 versus QO. They went into the lockdown, down a score, and they came out and shut QO down in the entire second half.
Right.
So that goes to the coaching
Right.
So, with that being said, yes, there are some things that Damascus coaches and players know they need to work on. And I think the most glaring one that we've seen over the past 2 weeks has been penalties. Just got to cut down on the penalties.
Right.
But with that being said, they haven't lost a game.
Right.
So it's hard to pick on something that you want to say they need to work on. But yeah, cut down on the penalties and they'll be fine. With all that being said, Swarming Hornets, once again, region champs. I have them winning this game 42-13.
Yeah, I have the Masters winning as well. I have the Masters winning 38. No, let me change that score. I got them winning 37-7. I think that the Masters is gonna go back to what they were doing versus Seneca Valley, and I think that they can smell the state championship right there in front of them, and I think that they're gonna perform well. I think that they're gonna perform really, really well this game, and put together a total Damascus effort. I think that Jordan Funk and those boys are gonna put on a show up front. Jurgens and all those guys, man. And Mikey Bradshaw, all those guys are going to put up a show up front, and I don't think they're going to let Oakdale get anything at all. And so I think it's going to be a great defensive performance, even above an offensive performance. They're dealing with a little bit of injuries, but I think that even with that, I think that Damascus is going to roll. All right, Damon. That's all the time we have today. Any parting thoughts, man?
As usual, if you have any questions or comments, you can get at me at Nomad Anderson on Twitter, or you can post on the message boards. That's MOCOFB.com. I know for the majority of the county, the season's over. People are getting ready for wrestling, which is my favorite sport, by the way.
Whoa. Tell me. Wrestling? It's basketball season, man.
Nah, son. Wrestling. Oldest and greatest sport on earth.
Okay.
I am aware of this other sport that takes place in the wrestling auditorium.
Okay. All right. Okay. All right. Now we're getting ridiculous now.
Shout out to the indoor track guys. I see you guys running around sometimes. I see y'all too.
Yeah.
But for all of you guys, I know practices already started and your focus is elsewhere, but if you have the time, just come out and support your Montgomery County brethren. Head up to Damascus or head on over to QO. Two of the best atmospheres in the state, no doubt about it. And just catch the last bit of football that we have left going on this year.
Absolutely.
And cheer Richard Montgomery, Damascus, or QO on, because they're our three last and best shots at bringing the title back to the county.
Absolutely. I get all those thoughts, man. Well, that's all the time we have for today, and see you next week.